Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. How's
Yeah,
everyone?
Good.
doing great, doing great. Good morning.
Good morning. You know what's this
Yeah.
weekend? The Super
Oh man.
Bowl. And
There's
my team is in it. No, not the Chiefs. Yes, 49ers.
yep. 49ers. It's gonna be hopefully it's gonna be a good game. Won't be a blowout.
Oh, please, please win. Don't lose a third one. I don't
Yeah.
think I could
Yeah.
handle it if we lose a third one.
Okay, so I'm gonna make
Yeah.
you both shake your head in disappointment, but we never watched any of that. So who's
Yeah.
playing?
I think you
Uh,
should leave.
Okay, bye.
yeah. Yeah.
Seriously,
The
just
the
walk
chefs,
away.
the chefs, and the 49ers.
Yes.
Okay.
Looks good, but who are the chefs? Yes, it's the 49ers, my team since I've been a little kid that I've rooted for. So hopefully Mahomes will not get the best of us again, but
Uh-huh.
it's going to be difficult. But we'll
No.
see.
Yeah. They both. They kind of everybody kind of picked them at the beginning of the year, which it's kind of interesting how you know, that kind of came true. But they definitely are the top two teams in the league. So I'm hoping for a
Mm,
good game and you know, lots of good commercials. So we'll see.
Yeah, so we'll
yeah,
see.
that's
So we're
and
here.
every Monday after the Super Bowl, you know what happened, right? This is what I know from HR. The
Is
Sunday
this true?
sickies,
Is this true? Good. What are you gonna say?
the Sunday sickies, where everyone
Oh
Really?
yeah, oh
calls
yeah,
out.
yeah. There's an article I think on the Wall Street Journal or one of the big papers around. Yeah, that they should make Monday a holiday after the Super Bowl because nobody goes to work. I mean, it's just a ton of people that have a little too tired from the game.
Or sick.
That's lame though, because I've always been so responsible. Like I've never gotten drunk on Super Bowl Sunday
Mhm.
because I knew I have to get up to
Mhm.
go to work. I've never done it. The
Yeah.
only time I ever did it was when I went to the Super Bowl when the 49ers played the Ravens and I
Yeah.
took the Monday off officially.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
other than that, no, I've never done that. But who knows? There
yeah.
could be a
Well,
first time.
it's funny they are talking about the in Las Vegas the brand new stadium, $2 billion stadium or whatever. Um, on the corner of one of the stadium, there's a Motel Six. So apparently, the Motel Six refused to sell when they built the stadium. So there's a little Motel Six there in the corner of the parking lot of the stadium. And apparently, the rooms are going for over $1,000 a night at the
Oh yeah,
Motel
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
6.
that'll be
So
the
yeah,
first time you ever paid over $1,000 a night for a Motel 6 room.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, I thought that was a great, interesting fact of where they're holding the game.
Yeah, no, when I went to the Ravens 49ers in Louisiana,
Hmm.
the closest hotel I could get to New Orleans was in Slidell, which is about what 30, 45 minutes from New
Away.
Orleans.
Wow.
So, and that was like the dumpiest hotel you could ever imagine. Because you just don't know. I mean, if you're waiting to go to the Super Bowl because
Hmm.
you're a fan of a certain team, then you have to buy the tickets. Obviously, when you think your team's going to win, as
Yeah.
opposed to buying them well in advance when you don't know who's going to um, go go to the game. Now, what I saw is the cheapest ticket is $7,000 off
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
aftermarket, which
Yeah.
is I think the
Oh
cheapest
my
ticket
gosh.
when I went to see the Ravens and the 49ers was like $3,000. So it has gone up in a considerable amount in about 10 years. It's crazy.
Yep. Yep. And they're having it in Vegas, which I'm sure nobody's going to bet on the game. So that
No, no, no betting. No betting. But we are betting
oh
on bad bosses this morning
oh
because
yeah.
there are always
Yeah.
bad bosses. Bad bosses, what you gonna do when they come for you? Bad bosses,
Yeah, I
bad
should do that.
bosses.
Oh man.
We did
There.
something similar to this a few
Hmm.
months ago, uh,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but so this topic came up again because I think we saw an article. Is that correct?
Yep. Found it on I
Hmm.
sourced it. HR Drive or
Hmm.
Dive.
Oh, we
Sorry.
love HR Dive.
Yep.
Hi, Ryan Golden from HR Dive. We love you.
That's
Thank
right.
you for all you do for us, Ryan Golden, writer for HR
No, no.
Dive.
But no, it's a great topic. Even with all the things that are happening right now, with what employees are demanding, there are still a lot of bad bosses out there, and even you know, in top tier companies, there's bad bosses, and uh, the big, it's interesting. That one of the things that we've always known is that you know employees, if you've got a bad boss, you're either going to suck it up, or because you can't afford to move, or you're going to make a move and leave the company. So we think that they're a big driver of turnover. Is a bad boss, somebody that you can't work for, that just is not somebody that is going to be helping you in your career. And retention is such a big thing for this year. So we think that finding the bad bosses and getting them fixed, or getting them out of the organization, is so important.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
it's a timely topic because every company is going through performance reviews, and
Hmm.
the performance reviews, should be two ways,
Yep.
right?
yeah. There's a
Exactly.
lot of tools that are coming out related to this in terms of feedback, as it relates to using AI tools to get feedback in very instantaneous ways that then goes to the individuals and tells them what their behavior is. So there's a number of very interesting AI tools coming on to give instantaneous feedback. And like you
Hmm.
said, it should be two-way communication between the boss
Hmm.
and the employee. Now, obviously, these communication vehicles are anonymous, so you don't know, quote unquote, which one of your employees said that. But yeah, this is happening quite a bit, and this is a really growing area of AI as well, of this almost automatic feedback to what you're
Hmm.
doing,
Yeah.
which
And
is interesting because this does happen and it has happened. And so there's a person that I know really well, and they are actually a really, really good boss. But one of the things with this whole bad boss thing is you've got to actually make sure that the things that people are upset about are really true. So sometimes, a team can get together and can go after somebody. And I've seen this happen. This happened to this individual. So, while we want to make sure that we call out the bad bosses, we also want to make sure that, people don't use this as a way to target somebody unnecessarily. And I've seen that happen as well too. So you have to be really careful with how you move forward with these words and some of these classifications. I just think that's something you got to keep
yeah,
in mind also.
yeah, and I think also, you know, employees have got to be really careful around this one, because I was in a situation where I had a really bad boss that probably covered, let's see, micromanager, coercer, unappreciator, took credit for all my work. uh you know just not a good situation. And her boss basically came and asked for feedback, as part of the performance review process from
Don't
their
do
boss.
it.
And I
He's
was
awesome.
weak.
Don't do it.
I was weak, and I actually told the truth, and
You caved. Yeah.
I caved. And he said, "Oh, don't worry, it's confidential." Right? It's
Oh,
never
no.
confidential. So, the next week, guess what? My bad boss became even a worse boss because
Golly.
of the
When he threw
feedback.
the separation agreement in front of you, did he become even
Exactly,
worse?
exactly, exactly. So, so this is a really tough situation for employees, and you got to be real careful. Be sensitive to whatever you say may come back to bite you. Some of these new tools that Jason was talking about, they're anonymous, which I think which is the right way to do it. But if you're providing feedback to an individual, it just is never a good situation. But you have to be real, really careful as an employee around this one.
Well, I think if you are at an organization and you have a bad boss
Hmm.
and you think that they're not going anywhere and you don't want to go anywhere because you really like your job, you really like your pay or whatever, I think that you need to develop skills on how you work through these issues that we've listed here. You've got to have a toolbox for
Hmm.
yourself that says, okay, if he's going to not appreciate my work, or she's not going to appreciate my work, how do I figure that out? How do I work within that? If the person
Yeah.
is a micromanager, how do I work around that? So the reality is a lot of times, the boss isn't going to change. And so
Mhm.
you've got to figure out coping skills, and you've got to figure out ways to, you know, beat the system to stay, and to make sure that you're happy with what you're doing and where you're at. And sometimes you can. I mean, there are things that you can sometimes work around with a bad boss, and then there are other things that you just can't. And that's all comes down to that all comes down to personal preference as to what
Hmm.
makes you tick, for sure.
Yeah, no, and I think like Jason said, I mean, I've had to do situations where, I've had a boss who was avoiding or not answering, emails that were important.
Hmm.
So I finally got to the point of saying, hey, here's the issue, here's my recommendation. If I don't hear from you from this date, here's what I'm going to do. And basically just kind of document and help yourself around that. Um, when you've got a micromanager as a boss, I think the other thing you've got to do there is, find ways, like Jason said, to provide work to that manager in advance so that they get more comfortable with what you're doing. And don't wait till the last minute of a deadline to get them information. Get it to them early so that they can know that you're on top of things. I mean, so there's just
Mhm.
different things that you can do uh, to get kind of ahead of that bad boss as much as you can to make your life a little bit more easier from a mental health perspective. Because it is, these bad bosses drive an unbelievable amount of stress in the organization.
The one
And
thing that's always puzzled me, and I had this
mhm,
conversation with somebody last week, and we were talking about a person that we knew, and this person is uber, uber, uber successful. And they are really, really, really a horrible boss, and very uber political. And so it's really hard to understand how they have risen so fast and done so well. You just don't get it. And I still don't
mhm,
understand some of these situations where, is somebody that good at managing up? Is their work really that good? But I know that this individual picks really good people to work for them, and they do a lot of the work,
mhm,
and make this person look really good. But then they don't last very long. They get pretty much moved through the organization quickly and out. So
mhm.
these are the things that I don't understand. That one, I don't really get how somebody who's a bad boss just does so well sometimes. That's the one that always has puzzled me.
Yeah, and I think on that one, like you said, a lot of it is how they manage up, um, and how they uh, work with their leaders and become kind of the
But what
the
do they
go-to person.
say?
You know,
I want to
well,
know. I want to like be a fly on the wall. Like, what do they say?
Yeah.
What are the words? I mean, what are they doing that is so different than how they treat their employees or manage their staff? I mean, that's what
hmm
just boggles my mind. If anybody
hmm
knows, if anybody has any thoughts around that, share them with me, because I'd love to know. I'd love to figure out this conundrum that I cannot unwind in
yeah,
my mind. What's the behavior like?
yeah. But I think that you hit on the biggest successor for them. It's hiring people that are really good, the next level down, that get all the stuff done. And then reporting and taking the credit for fixing problems and getting things accomplished. So I mean, I think that it's all about the team that you have, but working for you, as how well you perform and how well you're viewed. I think is a big one.
I think it's
It
like a
must be.
stigma, like, you got this person that's
Hmm.
super successful company, I wanna be a part of it.
Hmm.
You're a player, you get selected, you go in, work your tail off to prove yourself, and then leave
Hmm.
because the obvious, I think that's
Hmm.
probably how it works.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think also what's happening is happening even more now. is these great people in the organization, uh, are kind of you know they're they're staying even with a bad boss because you know they've got they've got responsibilities. They can't just leave. They've got bonus plans and stock options, or RSUs that are basically um, handcuffing them to the organization because they got to vest. They got to wait another 2 years to get those puppies to vest. So I think you've got a lot of those kind of situations that can happen in organizations where people will tolerate some of those bad bosses. And I had a conversation with somebody that is in sales in one of the top FANG companies, right? And they are getting yelled at on a week to week basis by their boss. And guess what? That those RSUs, man, have a lot of value, and they have to suck it up, because they can't afford to leave. And they got to plan their exit at some point in the future, but not short term.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, money can buy more patience and more tolerance than you think it would,
Hmm.
especially when you're in that situation and you look at what you have on the table
Hmm.
and you say to yourself, yes, I'm going to put up with a lot more than if I didn't have that great of a salary and I was just getting, a small bonus. You're more
Hmm.
likely to want to tap out and go do something else. But the more you have coming in, obviously that's going to really cloud your judgment and say, yeah, I
Hmm.
can,
Right.
go home and, have, a whole bottle of wine as opposed to half a bottle of wine when I look at the payouts that I'm going to be potentially receiving. That may help. Not
That's right.
encouraging drinking, but I'm
That's right.
just talking about what people probably do.
That's right. That's right. When is Friday? Is Friday here yet? Yeah.
It's Friday every Monday
Yeah,
in my
that's right.
house.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think that the other part of it too is that a lot of times folks, how an employee feels on Sunday night about Monday morning
Yep. I was
tells
just about to say
you
that.
how happy or upset they're going to be for the week. And that's
Hmm.
tough. But like you said, I mean, to become a better boss, you got to be aware, and if you're doing some of these things, you know, think about it and find ways to do your work differently because you're impacting your employees. And and you've got to be, I think the first three on the becoming a better boss: respecting your team, trusting your team that they're going to do the right thing, and be authentic. I think are really really important. Kind of traits that people have to have.
The easiest thing to do to become a better boss is just start asking your team, hey, how do you view me? What am I
Hmm.
doing good, or what am I doing well? Sorry. What am I doing well as a boss? And what am I doing poorly, or what do I need to improve in? And people will absolutely melt down when you ask them that. Like, you're asking me for my thoughts on how you need to improve. And if you haven't done it before, people will not say anything. But if you keep doing it, you're going
Yeah.
to basically get a lot of feedback from them. And what's going to happen is you'll start to get that respect and trust and authenticity and vulnerability, and all those things will start to come through because they'll be like, oh my God, Heather asks about how she's managing me, and never had that before. People don't usually do that. And I've told her, and she didn't get mad at me, and she tried to
Hmm.
change and this and that. And so that's super powerful. That's probably one of the most important things that you can do to change your um, traits as a leader that you don't like, is just getting that direct feedback. Now it'll
Hmm.
sting, it'll hurt in the beginning, but you probably know what the things are people are going to say, so nothing's really going to be a surprise to you. I mean, there may be something, but for the most part you're not going to be surprised. You're going to be like, yeah, my significant other, or, my kids or my mom and dad tell me that all the time about me,
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
it's not a
yeah,
surprise.
yeah. The other thing that we would recommend, and we did this, when we were at Cisco and when we did, and we were at BMC Software, um, and we used to call it kind of new manager orientation. And if you're a manager joining a team, we recommend that you that you have a facilitated session with your new team members, with you not in the room, where you ask a couple of simple questions. It's like, okay, so what do you know about Heather? You know, what do you think? What have you heard? What do you know about Heather? And jot all
What
that
do
stuff
we know
down.
about Heather?
Uh, you
Mhm.
know,
Dun, dun,
what
dun.
what would you like to know about Heather? That what kind of questions do you have about, how does she like to communicate? How does, with an issue, how do you want to handle a problem? You know, so, so it's kind of asking a few questions, uh, and then kind of jotting all those things down on a whiteboard, and then bringing in the manager and saying, okay, hey, here's what the team thinks they know about you. Is this true or not? And you answer the questions based on what's up on the board. And then what would you like to know? And then you can answer those questions, and it kind of level sets, the stage for a new manager employee relationship.
Yeah, there's
And
I
actually
like
yeah,
that.
a process around this, and
yeah,
if you're
mhm,
interested, we can provide you the
yeah,
process um, with and facilitation of it, so we
yeah,
can do that for a small fee, or
yeah.
we can
The
provide
tools,
you
yeah,
the tools for a small fee.
yeah,
So there's
yeah,
actually a full process around this.
yeah,
It works pretty
yeah.
good.
And it works
Um,
really well. Really,
yeah,
well, really works well.
but asking is the main thing as you come
Hmm.
in, especially with an established team, and asking them their viewpoint of how you're doing
Hmm.
as a leader is very, very, very important.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you're a bad boss, I mean, your turnovers are probably higher than everybody else's, and that's not good for you, for your performance as a manager. You got to figure
Mhm.
out ways to make it better, because somebody will pull the numbers, uh, and those numbers don't lie. So you got to just be aware of that.
The one that I don't see here, but maybe it's the an appreciator, maybe that's where it
Hmm.
goes. But the one that I don't see is the I don't care, which basically is the
Mhm.
person that they don't care about anything until there's something that they need to care about, that like the C-suite has asked them about
Hmm.
or somebody's
Yeah.
asked them about. Then all of a sudden they
Hmm.
come to you and then they get involved and they ask you a question. But other than that, they have no interest in anything that you're doing whatsoever until that point. Maybe that is an appreciator.
Hmm.
Or the
Okay, I
avoid
guess.
or
Yeah.
ignore.
Yeah, that's the one
Yeah.
that that's always a difficult one to deal with, and
Yeah.
people sort of just jump in on you. You're like,
Hmm.
well, I've figured this out and I've solved this problem, and this is the way we've been doing it, and then the person jumps in and unwinds everything that's been working. But
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
one it's the only one that I don't see, and that's a one that's difficult to
Yeah.
deal with sometimes.
No, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of the ones that we see that are kind of built, kind of embedded in a lot of these different,
Yeah.
categories, and some of them are kind of overlap. I mean, there's a, so, but no, there's some
Yeah.
real interesting ones, and I think, there's probably more, like Jason said, but definitely if kind of you're in one of these categories, you got to figure out a way to make it better.
Yes, and if you need help, we're here to
Mhm.
help you, and we're here to position you well within your organization or help you train managers to get
Mhm.
better at whatever you need. We can pull that together and assist you.
Mhm.
So, if Heather, somebody wants to contact you, how do we do that?
You can reach me at my email, and I'll also put the phone number, but my email is heather.simmons@thrivehrconsulting.com.
And Ray, if somebody wants to reach you,
Yeah, it's Ray, REY, at thrivehrconsulting.com. Love to talk to you.
and you can reach me at jason@thrivehrconsulting.com. Do not email or text me during the Super Bowl because the 49ers are playing. Other than that, I am available.
I am going to purposely now call,
Yeah,
blow
we'll
up your
text
phone.
you. Yeah, we'll text
That
you
would
during the
be
game.
problematic for you because you would not get a response, most likely. No, but I like you, so I would probably you're awesome and you're wonderful, so I would probably respond. But unless you're a very select few, it'll probably be radio silence till after the game. And then if they lose, it could be
Don't.
a month of radio silence. I might have to
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
go into
Yeah. I have to go to therapy.
exile.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, good. Well, great talking to everybody. Thank you for joining the show.
Yes,
Yep.
and go Niners. Woo!
We'll see you
There
next
you go.
week.
Go Niners.
All right, bye.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.